Fuck's sake, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, everyone. How's it going? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United, joined with this mining bastard, Henry Hotspur, next to me. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. Absolutely gash-tastic from United so far tonight. We were just watching the Palace versus United game. We've just lost our stream, actually, so we're resigned to listening to it at the moment before we waste any more time trying to find another stream. Absolute nightmare. Sickening performance for Manchester United. That first half performance is right up there with the worst performances I've seen from any United side ever. Absolutely dreadful, and all summarised really by that £90 million turd in the centre of the park, Paul Pogba, dawdling on the ball, caught in possession time and time again. You're not going on with the team. They look poor, they look drab, and they're just not able to string passes together, to pass quickly, to create any meaningful attacks. And but bearing in mind we've got all that talent out there on the pitch coming up against this Crystal Palace side, it is a fucking calamity, quite frankly. It's an absolute calamity. What do you think about it, Hen? You've been watching it. It is a...
Alex Rincon in the house, thank you so much for your early donation. Just before I start ripping into your club there, mate. So basically, serious issues. First half, as you said, absolutely calamitous.
I was fucked off about this.
I was interested when I saw the selection. I thought Pogba playing hopefully a bit of a higher up role tonight. We're having Matic and McTominay obviously but behind him. And I was thinking, this might be exciting. We might be able to see what sort of player Pogba is with a bit more freedom up there. But you guys just haven't turned up at all. You're not working. Yes, you're a better team. Yes, you're a more talented club with much better players. But if you're not working, you're not going to get a result. It's the work first. If you've got the work rate, if you've got the desire, the hunger, then that's the first denomination of who's going to do better in the game.
Fuck, man. Hang on. Block off the goal line here. What the fuck's going on?
Palace.
This is shit, mate. We aren't able to watch the fucking game now.
Palace, United attacking, cleared off the goal line. It's been
probably
a
a good thing.
Exciting game. It really has. But yeah, basically, United don't want it. I think it's Mourinho's fault as well. He came out today saying that he's not bothered second or third. Well, he didn't say that exactly, but it was more kind of, he just didn't. There's still stuff going on there. But I think that is transferring over to the players. The fact that, Mourinho doesn't seem that fussed about the Premier League.
Way
now.
too
He knows
negative.
He's lost it.
Way too negative. He doesn't give a fuck, mate.
That's why the players don't give a fuck, and that's why that first half was a joke. Maybe this half sounds like you've actually realised. Wake up call. Spurs are 1 point behind.
Coming up against Crystal Palace. Coming up against Crystal Palace, and this is how we play with all those talented players out there on the pitch, and we play in this negative bullshit fashion. Are you serious, Mourinho? You having a fucking giraffe, pal? It's so fucking annoying, isn't it? Like, all those talents out there on the pitch, you expect us to be able to steamroll Palace. Where are Palace 17th in the league or something? Yeah, they're having a mare.
So. They're having a mare. They go up to 13th with a victory today. Okay, so you can see why they're trying. Fuck me, if they get a result today, think about the confidence boost. They're up to 13th. In the league. Suddenly it's like we're not relegation zone anymore. We're pretty much mid-table. We just beaten Manchester United. They're going to be loving it. That's why they're going for it, and you're not going for it at all.
Well, that's a bullshit reason, mate.
Well, you haven't.
Manchester United. The reason why we should be going for it. Okay, we can't win the league now. That's plain to see. But we can cement our place in the top four. I believe if we won this game today, we'll be 12 points clear of fifth, right? Which guarantees you top four Champions League football. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you finish second, third, or fourth, as long as you've got Champions League football. Then it becomes more important about the cups. If you can't win the league, you just finish top four, don't you? So if we'd have won today, 12 points clear of fifth, then that basically cements our place in the Champions League next year. That's the reason why we should be trying to win this game. That should be the motivation alone for these players out there. Oh! 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 Hit the crossbar, Lukaku!
2-2.
Lukaku! 2-2, lads and lasses, and Romelu Lukaku puts the ball in the back of the net here, so we're resigned to listening to it, so... Come on, my son! How long's left in the fucking game, Henry? How long's left now? Come on! This is it! We need to win this fucking game of football. Shit first half performance.
2 minutes in.
20 minutes left, lads and lasses. 20 minutes left.
That Lukaku goal has triggered another donation from Alex Smith. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Get some more goals there.
Alex Rudd says 14 minutes. How's it going, Alex Rudd? He says 14 minutes left in the game. 14 minutes then to do the business and get that winning goal. Surely we can do that now.
You really need to. After that first half, I mean, you've got the ability. If you work hard, of course you can. Of course you can win the game. You should be beating a team that's 17th in the Premier League that didn't win their first 7 games of the season.
Oh, great save by David De Gea, apparently. Holy shit, this is dangerous stuff. End-to-end, Palace, fair play to them. From this game started, from the moment it started, they've been at Manchester United. I saw that first goal coming as soon as the game kicked off because they looked bang up for it. First to everything, Manchester United second to everything. And you could see that early goal coming. It's been more of the same and they're still going for it now. They still believe they can get the best of Manchester United here. United have to... wake up now. We've just scored. Don't concede right now. Don't fall asleep at the back. That's the last thing we need. We just need to build on this now. We've got 15 minutes left in this game with stoppage time to get that goal. I think we can do it, after a shocking first half performance. Obviously, the second one's been better. Oh!
I mean, I tell you what, from the way it's been for you, you're lucky that Chelsea are having mares at the moment. You're lucky that they're not snapping at your heels and they're having a mare of their own. Because otherwise, you could be looking at dropping out of top 4 with this sort of consistency. I mean, yes, you might be able to pull it out of the bag the second half and have had a bit of a better performance, but to go 2-0 down,
totally
before
it was the
50
shittest
minutes,
performance ever as well. It's not like we were doing okay and Palace, just happened to score some goals. No. We were shite and they took advantage of that and they were better than us in that first 45 minutes, 100%. But still happy to see the reaction from United in the second half in terms of getting the goals at least. Gives us the chance now to go on and win the game. That's all we need. We just need to fight back. That will show great character. Doesn't matter how shit you play in the 45 minutes of the game. It is over 90 minutes and that is how you are judged. And the result is what, is the outcome of that. So there's still time. 12 minutes left in the game, says Alex Rudd. 12 minutes left for United to get that goal.
I tell you what, Pogba was fucking shit in that first
fucking
half.
Awful, wasn't he?
Absolutely terrible. Kept giving the ball away. He's having his own little sorry, I'm shit. It's like, there's no time for that, mate. Love, darling, I should be calling you. Just fucking man up and get on with it. Be the great player you're supposed to be.
The most infuriating player, yeah, most infuriating player. Dawdle's on the ball, waits on the ball, gives it away, dispossessed. Just like he's got no awareness of what's going on around him. It's like his brain is not functioning quick enough to see a short, easy pass to a teammate. He dawdles on it, he gives it away. That is the most infuriating thing about Paul Pogba. I've said it previously and, time and time again about his play. It's so annoying. It's so casual. It's the most casual style of play you can hope from a midfielder. You just want the midfielder to be somebody like a Paul Scholes or a Gerrard or something. Somebody who's going to get on the ball and see a pass and play it, not fuck around and just wait to get dispossessed and give teams the opportunities that Paul Pogba's given them today, He has been absolutely atrocious in that first half. Anyway.
Comments coming through also mentioning the game that Sanchez has had, and he's not had the greatest game, certainly in that first half as well. Gave away the ball many times from what you're telling me there. And, it's just not quite good enough, is it really? But there we go. It's 2-2.
Anyway, we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the game. Shocking start from Manchester United, 2-0 down. We've managed to battle it back to 2-2 now. There's a short amount of time left in the game. Can this be a classic Manchester United comeback? Can we do it? I hope that we can. To everybody right now who's tuned in live, watching the stream along with us, thank you so much for getting involved with us. Do give us a like on this video and share it on social media if you're that way inclined. Oh, I mean, we were never going to win the league now. This was all about just winning this game. We should be able to beat Crystal Palace. I mean, after the results that have happened at the weekend, this would be our ticket to Champions League football next year, really. Because, yes, there's a fair amount of games left, but you've got to take into consideration how far Chelsea are behind and the fact that they would have to win all of their games and United drop 4 games essentially, and Chelsea win all of theirs, which isn't really going to happen. It's much more likely that Manchester United would qualify. So this game, these next 10 minutes are absolutely massive for Manchester United's season. They are, because without a win today, it's like, well, we could easily get dragged back down there. We've got the likes of Spurs nipping at our heels. Liverpool, of course, are still right up there.
Above you.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Above you. Even with a point today, they are still above you on goal difference. That's not a good feeling, is it? Them Scousers.
I know, and Alex here says with Liverpool next, this is a crucial win. Totally agree. Kloppy is not afraid to play football. Mourinho may be freaking scared to play football, which is what it seems like how he sets his team up. Very negative, very defensive. Kloppy, on the other hand, is not. You know what you're going to get when you come up against Liverpool. You're going to get a team who are going to try and get at you for the entirety of the game. So Manchester United, we can't guarantee ourselves a result in that game the way we're playing and how much of a sort of wild card fixture it is, that sort of derby. So this is a huge game. You're absolutely right. Get the points in this game. It's a complete must.
I am looking at this game with eager, hungry eyes. I've been looking forward to this one because I had a feeling that Crystal Palace might just cause you an upset. They need results. They need points. I don't think they've actually got any points without Zaha in the side. So this would be their first point earned without him. That's a crazy stat. I think that's right. I think that's what I heard. That's mad, isn't it? Read into that how you want. But I'm just trying to see if anything's going on there.
I think I must say that a lot of the lads today have just underperformed. You can say what you want about Mourinho, and yes, his tactics are negative, but you can't account for, Paul Pogba dawdling in the centre of the park there, or defensive errors, or, Valencia and Young not performing, These are players who are supposed to perform. I think we've just got a little bit too casual tonight. It's like, yeah, we're coming up against Palace. We've seen some of the other results. Mourinho may be even, he's transferred something to the players. It's like, does he really care whether he finishes second or third? Oh, and Crystal Palace with a chance.
Lukaku with a chance, wasn't it?
Was it?
Get your ears waxed, mate, or de-waxed. Syringed. Sorry, this is being rude, isn't it? Because
proper shit dead
sorry, we're just getting like...
That's the thing, we usually watch the game, but we've lost the stream tonight, so we can only really listen to what's going on.
Go back to what I was going to say, because I got interrupted by this brilliant commentary that we're listening to. They probably make out that there's more going on radio than they do on TV. They do that, don't they? Any little chance, it's like, something's going on, something's going on, something's going on. Nah, nothing's really going on, isn't it? It is like that on the radio. It really gets you going. It sounds like the best game you've ever seen ever. But basically, I'm really interested in this game because I hope that you don't get the 3 points. Sorry, Manchester United fans out there, but that's what I hope as a Spurs fan, because you've got Liverpool next. You'll only be 2 points above us. Liverpool's only 2 points above us, or whatever it is. There's been very minimal points involved now. And one of you is going to have to drop points next week, so that'll get, we'll have a chance to leapfrog one of you to third. It's getting interesting. It's getting interesting, I'm telling you.
Come on, United, sort yourselves out, for fuck's sake. These guys are going to finish above us if we're not careful. Like you say, we've got Liverpool coming up next. That's no gimme game at all. It'd be sickening to, finish below these guys. To even give you a hope. I mean, how long ago was it? We were like, 10 points ahead of you. We were 10 points ahead of you. I was like, yeah, the bet's basically done, mate, isn't it?
Basically, every pig in the hen show, I remember you saying, yeah, we're still ahead of you, mate. We're still ahead of you, mate. And yet you can still say this evening, we're still ahead of you, mate. We're still ahead of you, mate. But, that gap's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And, it's going to be interesting to see if one of these shows before the end of the season is going to be like, are you still ahead of us, mate? It's going to be like that. I'm looking forward to it, to that day.
Mate, I reckon you need to get your hair done.
Yeah, I'm having a bad hair day. I've been out in the wind. It's gone proper Kim Jong-un, but there we go.
Paboni says, please notice me, Piggy. Bit desperate there, aren't you, mate? Bit desperate. But I noticed you noticing me.
Sorry, who
Alex Rudd says 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left of the game. Can Manchester United do this? We need to do this, This has been poor from us today. We should not be in this situation. We should be capable of beating Crystal Palace comfortably in this sort of fixture with so much on the line and all those quality players out there on the pitch. And this is the best we can do. Hoping in the last 5 minutes of the game we can muster something and hopefully keep Crystal Palace out, which, to their credit, has been very difficult today from Manchester United's perspective.
From what I've saw of when we did have the game up of Rashford coming on, obviously for McTominay there on the yellow card just to try to inject a little bit of pace and a little bit of extra energy into the second half. I think that has worked. You've been more in the game. I think Rashford particularly looked good, and he hasn't been playing enough. He has not been playing enough. I think Mourinho has basically sidelined the guy for several games now. He hasn't even really been that consistent substitute player, has he?
It's always going to be difficult when you're bringing Sanchez in and you've got these players with big reputations that you sort of feel like you have to play because they're on lots of money, even though they've not been doing it. You know,
Pogba's playing shit. Sanchez,
Alexis Sanchez is a quality player, but he's just not playing well.
A good Rashford is better than a maybe just below average Sanchez.
100% agree. Yeah. But I mean, we've only just signed Sanchez. We know what he's capable of. You sort of got to play him. It's a tough one for Mourinho there. You know, he could just do something amazing. But yeah, it's a shame for Marcus Rashford, his development at the club slowing down because of these stars around him. I mean, you can't even say he's competing with Zlatan Ibrahimovic at the moment because he's out of it as well. So this situation is not going to improve by Zlatan Ibrahimovic leaving.
So obviously very disappointed at the moment. You got to be happy that you've come back from 2-0 down to be 2-2. I mean, for any team to do that, it's
Yeah, but a draw is still a shit result in this situation, mate. It really is. We'd be 2 points ahead of you. I'm just disgusted about the performance as well. It's not just about the result. Like that first half performance was so timid from United. Getting beaten to absolutely everything by Palace. Desire should not be an issue for any Manchester United team. Fight should not be an issue for any United team, but it is. It's like these players don't give a fuck. Look at Paul Pogba in the centre of the park. He epitomises that. He epitomises just casual, just fuckery, basically, in the centre of the park there. Paul Pogba just winds me up so much. And a lot of the players have been like that today, just second rate. That's all it is. They just don't look up for it.
You just haven't turned up. The beginning of the game just didn't turn up at all. And, it's just it's taken you too long to wake up, essentially. I mean, if you turn around and win it 4-2 now, for example, you're still going to be annoyed by the result. Obviously happy with the result, but you'd be annoyed with the performance. You'd have to be, wouldn't you? You couldn't just go back and say, oh, United are good now. You've got to look back and think, well, regardless of, popping in a few goals now, it's not really the way that you want to be, performing in games, is it?
What the fuck's going on, United? Come on. Alex Rudd, 2 minutes plus stoppage. Not long left at all in this game. What can we muster? Historically, United have always been the most lethal in the last 5 minutes of games, but at the moment, this United side, it's like, do we have it in our locker?
You have a terrible record in London. You really do. Manchester United haven't taken many points from London clubs at all this season. But Mourinho's shit everywhere, and he's never won.
Townsend ripping us apart.
Never won at Newcastle. So it seems like there's a few bogey teams for Mourinho.
Oh, Rashford, decent attack there. Matter on the ball. Unfortunately, Hennessy gets hold of it. But come on, lads. We need more of that. Not long left in the game now.
Let's give Crystal Palace some respect as well in this game because, obviously they came out guns blazing. Managed to get a couple of goals. And looking good considering the injury list that they have at the moment. So the big names that are missing from their side, obviously Zaha, massive player, as I said, haven't got any points without him. Johan Cabaye out of the side. Scott Dan, not in the heart of that defence at the moment. So when you look at some of those players, there's some big names. There's some key performers for Crystal Palace there.
They've had a good resurgence. I mean, getting a point for them today is actually
massive. They've had a good resurgence, but they're in the relegation zone. So how can you really say that?
Well, like they
did okay for a little bit.
It's so topsy-turvy. Like you say, if they won, they'd be 13th. Then they're nowhere near the relegation zone. A point, that still takes them out of the rally. They're not quite in it, are they? They're just outside anyway.
Well, I can soon tell you. So let's just have a quick look at the table. If I can.
90th minute in the game here. I don't think United are going to do it, Years ago, I would have looked at this situation and thought, we are banging this right to the end,
So a point.
But this United side, how things are going, 3 minutes to do it, I don't think they're capable of it. We haven't got the balls.
A point's not really going to do much for Palace. They'll remain in the relegation zone because they have a terrible goal difference at the moment. A point for United doesn't really help. A point doesn't really help either team. You're looking to really cement yourself and make sure that you're okay for a top 4 spot. And obviously Palace want to avoid relegation. So you both desperately need the 3 points.
Pogba with a shot blocked.
That's it. You've done it.
Matic! Nemanja! 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 Get in there, my son! And after all that, Nemanja Matic just put the ball in the back of the net. Last closing segment of the game here, and he's done it. 3-2 to Manchester United. You fucking beauty! Oh, he comes from Serbia. He'll fucking murder ya. Nemanja! Alex Rudd says, nice volley. Get in there, you beauty. Have some of that. What were you saying, mate? What were you saying, Spurs? We've got Liverpool next. You've got City coming up, pal. Matic just got a screamer. Alex Norman says, what a beaut. One for the replays. Oh, absolutely overwhelmed about this, mate. I didn't think it was coming. What was I just saying a minute ago?
Well, you have to say, obviously, it's been a different second half. The first half was absolutely dog shite, and to be able to come back, fair play, fair play, fair play for being able to do that. But it's still a funny old results that Tottenham Hotspur aren't having results like that.
Paboni says, "Oh my God, my ears never hurt so much. I'm so sorry about that. It was just a very organic reaction, an orgasmic reaction. I basically just had a mangasm live on the air here, so I apologise for that. We are actually trying a new sort of little microphone system, so let me know how we actually sound, guys. If you could do that, it'd be much appreciated. Oh, mangasm! And eventually we've managed to do it. Let's just hold on to this. I could just see United just conceded now.
You look like a relieved man.
I am a relieved man. I'm a fucking relieved man.
Alkmaar says 3-3.
No. He's taking the piss, mate. He's taking the piss, mate. Just don't pay attention to these comments coming through right now.
Well, we've got a live feed coming through, haven't we?
No, let's hope so.
But people told us before we heard it. So other people are more up to date than we are, aren't
exactly.
They?
Can you move over here a little bit, mate? You're sort of messing up the frame of this video, mate.
Sorry, mate.
Come on, lads and lasses. After all that, after a terrible performance from Manchester United, one out of the very bottom draw, Manchester United have managed to score 3 second-half goals, come back from 2-0 down, and hopefully win this game 3-2, cementing ourselves in the Champions League for next year, basically. That is what this means. Full time. It's full time, mate.
That's it.
Manchester United have beaten Crystal Palace 3-2 away on the road at Selhurst Park. Get in there, you beauty. Get that shit out there. I'm absolutely buzzing. Sorry, mate. Sorry about this. I'm just absolutely over the moon about that after such a shit performance and such a terrible, series of events going in to the start of the game. Started so slowly. Crystal Palace started like a train, got right at us, beat us to absolutely everything. Our players underperforming all over the pitch. I have to say, what a shit performance that was from Manchester United, even though we've gone on to win the game. Absolutely terrible performance from us. Although showed great character in the end to be able to come back from 2-0 down and win that. The players, don't think they've really done all that much today. I was quite impressed with McTominay in the first half. I thought he did okay. Other than that, I thought the first half performance from all the players was rubbish. But the second half performance, obviously, is much better from the lads. Lukaku getting on the score sheet and Matic on the score sheet, at the end there to seal the game. 90th minute winner. Absolutely over the moon about that. Haven't seen it. Unfortunately, we lost the stream during the second half there, but it was a worldie of a volley, apparently. So happy for Nemanja Matic to do that for United. To be able to score that sort of a goal in that sort of a situation. I mean, that's freaking hero stuff right there. That is hero stuff. And in doing so, he has effectively cemented our position in the top 4 this year because, as I say, that puts us, I think, 12 points ahead of Chelsea now in 5th place. So now it's like we would have to have an absolutely calamitous David Moyes-esque mare between now and the end of the season and Chelsea to match the form that they showed last season, which isn't going to happen, for them to be able to get into that position and knock us out.
They can only catch Tottenham, is what you're saying.
Basically, they can only catch Tottenham, and they probably will do, because let's face it, Tottenham are shite.
Shut your mouth.
But there's you giving it the big and Manchester United are losing this game now. You've had a mare, you're shit at Selhurst Park. Oh, we Tottenham won, didn't we? Yeah, 1 point behind you now. You've got to play Liverpool. What are you saying now, mate?
Well, I mean, like I was trying to say before you came back and won the game, Manchester United there. I was trying to say that you can't let that just smooth over the cracks, the obvious cracks and issues that are there with the performances that you've been putting in this season, week after week after week, criticism after criticism. Yes, fair enough, it's 3-2, but, you know, there were some issues there today.
Oh, 100% issues. It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Manchester United side, especially probably the worst winning performance, epic fight back, comeback that I've ever seen. But you can't really say that, because first half was that bad. Second half, obviously, we've come back from adversity, 2-0 down. We managed to win the game 3-2. That's an amazing performance, whichever way you look at it, you know, even if it didn't look that good, if it was ugly, whatever. Some great, you know, answers from the players there after a really poor first half. Whatever Mourinho said at half times obviously had a decent effect. He made some changes, brought Rashford on positive, you know, that was nice to see. And, you know, Matic at the end there winning the game for us. So that is an unbelievable win for us at this moment in time. It just cements us in top four. It takes a little bit of pressure off, because the likes of Spurs are not quite nipping at our heels. That puts us 4 points ahead of Spurs now. It puts us back in the second place above the Scousers as well, doesn't it? Fuck you, Liverpool. So it was a great win for us in the end after a turd of a performance. You know, highlighted by Paul Pogba, who, if you're just joining me now and haven't seen the game, you know, didn't look like he was £90 million worth of player. Looked like he was a 9p player in that first half. He was shocking, dawdling on the ball, giving the ball away numerous times, you know, not what you expect from a player of that caliber. And so frustrated, because he is Mr. Inconsistent. That's the problem. Obviously, he had a better second half, but so inconsistent, because you know, he 1 week he's fantastic, next week he does look like he plays for the Dog and the Duck, and is one of their worst players. So, you know, we've nicked it today. That's all we can really say. We were, after going 2-0 down, I don't think we were really meant to win that game. We didn't deserve to win that game up at that point. Palace were the much better team coming out in the first half for the entire first 45 minutes of the game. Second half, when you're expecting that impact and that you know, that fight back from Manchester United, showing a little bit of desire, it didn't come. You know, Palace got another goal, 2-0 down, start the second half, put us in a really bad situation, but we still kept on going. And I think the extra quality of Manchester United just shone through in the end there. You know, some great saves from David De Gea, Lukaku getting a goal, big game performance from him. It's just, there's a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. That's just a funny old game, crazy game of football today.
Let's look at Crystal Palace. You know, you've got to feel sorry for them to a certain extent, because obviously showed a lot of fight, a lot of passion, a lot of a bit of a, you know, a couple of middle fingers up to Manchester United in that first half. It's like, no, we're not scared of you. Fuck off, Red Devils. You know, we can do something here, and they did, and they showed us that. So to come away with no points from that game in the relegation zone there, not nice.
Ooh,
Roy Hodgson will probably be regretting what he said before the match, because he was questioned by journos. You know, do you watch the games? Are you going to watch you know, a couple of United games or whatever it is before playing them? He says, no, I don't watch the football. I don't watch the games. I just watch the highlights on Match of the Day. You know, he literally came out and said that. It's like,
Roy Hodgson is a Mrs. Doubtfire mug.
Fair enough if you do that. You know, keep it to yourself. Don't sort of say it and then lose and then mug yourself off. It's like, you know, if you know, people are going to coming up to him and saying, well, did you watch any Iceland football before we lost to them in you know?
Anyway, mate, nobody really gives a fuck about Roy Hodgson, mate. I'm just saying, you know, yeah, he's a shit manager. Palace, that's pretty much them relegated now. Nice try, Palace. See you later on. Sorry about that, mate. And sorry about that, Palace fans. But, you know, I personally just don't give a shit. I think that was such an epic win in the end for Manchester United. You know, they will feel so gutted about that. You know, Crystal Palace, all credit to them. They really made a go of it. They probably deserved to win in the end, but they didn't. They didn't hold on. That's what you got to do in football. You got to hold on. No good if you're the best team for 60 minutes. No, you got to be the best team for over the 90 minutes. Or at least get the right scoreline, and they didn't tonight. James Arnold in the house with a super chat. How's it going, James Arnold? He said, beat them rats next. Absolutely. Liverpool coming up. This is another reason why this was such an epic, huge, unbelievable, monstrous proportional game for us today. It's because we do have Liverpool coming up, who
Is it Anfield?
Who could easily
Or
beat
Old
us.
Trafford?
I don't know, actually.
No,
mate.
it's Old Trafford, isn't it?
Old
Of course
Trafford.
it is, because it was 0-0 at Anfield.
Right.
Earlier in the
Good
season.
memory, mate. Good memory. But Liverpool coming up next. The Scousers. Tough game, anything could happen in that game. We could beat them, they are beatable. That we can get at them, their defensive is not great. But they do have one of the best attacks. They do have one of the most attacking-minded managers, and they're not afraid to go at anybody. Look at that City game. So that's always going to be a wild card of a game. What could happen in that? Anything could happen. So we can't, hang our hat on that fixture and say we're going to get anything out of that at this stage with this United team the way it is. So this all the more reason why we had to beat Palace today, and we've done it. We have done it just by the skin of our teeth and the boot of that beautiful Serbian legend, Nemanja Matic. I love that bloke. Nemanja is a lucky name for Manchester United. We should just sign every player in world football called Nemanja, probably basically end up with Serbia. But even so, I think it's a good shout. Nemanja Vidic, Nemanja Matic, both absolute legends. What other Nemanjas are there, mate? Fucking sign them up.
Well, you got Juan Mata.
What the hell, mate? That's nothing. That's nowhere near Nemanja.
It sounds like Matic without the chat.
We've got Pogba too, apart from it's a P and it sounds nothing like it. It's the same difference, mate.
So, obviously, massive game for you. Next Premier League fixture against Liverpool, as you said. I think if you want to be winning that one. Obviously, you don't want to be losing to them. But if you do lose to them and we beat, if we win our next fixture, then we're again only 1 point behind you.
You've got City coming up soon as well, though. That's a big game. I mean, you can argue maybe City won't give a fuck, and you could easily win that game. It doesn't matter if City lose 2 or 3 games now between now and the end of the season.
We've got Bournemouth coming up Sunday.
Alex Rudd with a super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. He says super chat has only 50 characters. Fuck Google. You're legend, Alex. Super chatting to let us know that. I didn't know they limited you to 50 characters. That is poor.
But Alex, did you use 50 characters for that message there? That wasn't a good display of what you can actually use there. You didn't even need it all. So why criticise?
So to everybody tuning in, do us a favour right now. Chuck a like on this video. If you're a Palace fan, I feel sorry for you. You might want to leave now because the gloating is only going to get worse. But yeah, I think that's pretty much them relegated now. I really do. It's sad to say because on today's performance, they didn't really deserve to lose that game. But in the end, if you can't hold on, you can't hold on. You don't deserve to win. And Manchester United
but
just
do you not
found
think
that
with
extra
performances
quality.
like that, they could definitely stay up? For you to say that that's them down. I mean, there's so many teams that are still involved in that relegation battle. You can't say that they're down. Don't be silly.
Come on,
Go on then. Are you ready to say you're going down teams?
Palace,
yet?
No, I'm not.
People want us to know. People want us to say.
I'm not. We've changed it loads anyway. Swansea have changed everything around. It's changed dramatically since the last time we did that. And believe me, we're not going to do that again. But I do think Palace are going down. They've got that Mrs. Doubtfire wannabe Roy Hodgson in charge, and I think he's very mundane, isn't he? And he's very safe.
Trying to say he's old.
No, I'm not trying to say he's old at all, mate.
You're not trying to be
say he looks
ageist
like
or
Mrs.
something.
Doubtfire.
Because people have been
almost as much like Neil Warnock does. Not quite as much.
His age is mentioned too much for me. I'm
not talking about his age, mate. It's not about how old he is. It's not about how.
Well, Mrs. Doubtfire, just some elderly person. That's what you're trying to say.
I think you'll find that was a young person in a woman's body, mate.
So is that what you're saying Roy Hodgson is then?
Exactly.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
That is problems then, isn't it?
But anyway, I just don't rate him after that whole England calamity getting knocked out by Iceland. His respect level went right down to 0. I didn't give a fuck if you could take Fulham to a Europa League final and lose. That was your biggest fucking, that was your biggest managerial achievement beforehand, before getting England knocked out by Iceland pretty much. So, I don't think he's got enough to keep Palace up. Maybe they will stay up, and if they do, today...
I think you could blame Hodgson, though.
I think...
I think he's a decent manager.
I think he's a useless manager.
I think that's harsh.
That's not harsh. Did you see? Hang on
a
second. You're telling me Roy Hodgson's not a useless manager? You saw that performance from England in the European Championships. He had Harry Kane taking the fucking corners. He's got Wayne Rooney on the pitch, who takes the corners for Manchester United, who is a corner taker, who's 5'7", who's 5'7" and takes corners. Yet you have him waiting in the box for the fucking crossers, and you have Harry Kane taking the corners, 6 foot, good with his head, and you've got that prick taking the corners, and you're telling me that Roy Hodgson is a good manager?
He's a shit international manager. Yeah? Shit England manager, obviously. But at club level, he's had limited success here and there, hasn't he?
Gungshi in the house. How's it going, my friend from Taiwan? He's just sent us an epic super chat. You legend. Thank you so much for that, Gungshi. He says, hey guys, just woke up, 6 a.m. here. First United game I've missed this season. Damn it. Well, in the end, you did miss quite a game. You know, about the 60-minute mark, I would have said you haven't missed much. It was a terrible performance up until then from Manchester United. But the extra quality showed. We managed to get the equaliser, and then we managed to get the epic stunner of a winner from the manager Matic right before the end of the game. So in the end, you've missed an epic game, but we're here to break it down for you, Gungshi. Don't you worry about that. But thank you so much for getting involved on the channel as usual. 6 a.m. in Taiwan, he's getting up there with his morning coffee, and with the news that Manchester United have managed to nick a win at the end of the game against Palace and basically cement our position in the top four. Huge game for us. Huge result.
What do you think Jose said at halftime? What did he say to those players in that dressing room? 1-0 down. He must have said something. You would have thought.
He probably said, right, go out there and win, lads, otherwise I'm going to appoint Louis van Gaal as my assistant manager.
I reckon he got Fergie's hairdryer out. Like, literally, there is, like, at Old Trafford, there's actually a hairdryer. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, it's signed by Sir Alex Ferguson. He's actually used that. He must have done, because that was like a Fergie comeback almost.
He's got the old David Beckham boot out and just sliced somebody's eyebrow with it just to make a point, you know. Or he's got the old Lucille. He's got the old frickin', is it called Lucille from Walking Dead, mate?
Lucille.
He's got Negan's Lucille out and just dragged it along the ground. Just dragged it along the ground saying, who's it going to be at full time, lads?
Do the whistling.
Who's it going to be?
Do the whistling.
But anyway, that's what's happened. I think you're right, man. He would have had to have got the hairdryer out there, give the lads a bloody good roasting, which is what they deserved at halftime. They were shocking in that first half. Make no mistakes about it. That first half performance was right up there with the worst of the season. And coming up against a team who are 18th, 17th, whatever they are in the league, just not good enough. So he would have given them a roasting at halftime, because you can say what you want about his negative tactics and all this, but he's not controlling the players out there. He's not allowing Pogba to dawdle on the ball and give the ball away 4 or 5 times in the first 30 minutes of the game, allowing Palace opportunities.
Do you think managers actually do that, though? Everybody always talks about, hairdryer treatment, roasting, etc., spitting in players' faces. I mean, I know that does happen, but, I mean, I imagine Mourinho different at halftime. I imagine him just walking around, everyone's silent, and he's just walking around going, you think I don't care? You think I don't care? Okay, you think I don't care? Just that. You know what I mean? Something like that. And everyone's do you know what I mean?
You're losing to Palace on the eve of my daughter's wedding.
You think I only care about Champions League? Okay, you think I only care about Champions League? Okay.
You might be right, though. There's something sinister about Mourinho, you know, but he does seem to get the best out of players in crucial times. That's why he's successful at winning trophies. Even this team last year, which you have to say is not as good a team as the one we've got currently now, just because we've got an extra bit of added quality into the side now, he still managed to get us to 2 finals and win them, which is a great achievement. It just shows you that he is a tactical manager. He has the ability to win games and turn games around, you know. Done that today. You know, Rashford was a positive addition in the second half there. I don't know what happened to Martial this game. Where was he? He was just injured. Wasn't even on the bench or anything.
I think he did pick up an injury. Something or other.
Yeah.
Which would explain things.
Chris Chandra in the house. He says, great comeback win. That's exactly what it was today. We needed to somehow get the win. It was huge for us. We don't want to get dragged into a fight for top 4 places. This has basically just allowed us to not relax. I don't want us to see United relax, but it has taken the pressure off a little bit, just because we now do have a bit of breathing space between now and 5th place. Not that we want to finish 4th. We don't have to qualify or anything like that. 2nd is still the goal, of course. Pushing City to the end has to be our goal, even though they're only a few games away from actually winning the Premier League already.
You did look awful, though, in that first half. I've got to keep coming back to it. And the fact that, for me, your starting 11 was the favoured current Manchester United 11 is what I'd say.
I know, yeah.
Certainly McTominay and Matic, Pogba, Sanchez, you know, and obviously Lukaku up front there. I mean, those are your top players.
Yeah, arguably our strongest team.
And what you'd like to think is the way your team should go going forward. I think it's been a cry out for Pogba to be playing a little bit higher up the pitch, but it didn't work in that first half at all. At all. I mean, I've got to keep coming back.
No, I agree. I think it was just tepid from United. You know, the formation. More of what we wanted to see. Really, we were saying like Pogba's not doing it in a deeper line role. We want to see him slightly more advanced, allow him a bit more freedom in that sense. Today, it didn't really work. You know, Lukaku wasn't getting much of it in the first half. The thing is with Pogba, it's so infuriating, is that because he was having a bad game, he lost his head. You know, in the sense that he had to try and make up for it. It's like he's dispossessed the ball. You could see him. He was angry at himself that he's allowed that to happen. It's amateur stuff. It's just schoolboy, you know. You shield the ball, you find a teammate, you find a pass, easy pass, but you don't just dawdle on it and get tackled. And he did that time and time again. You could see the frustration. It's not like he's trying to have a shit game, but he was having it and he was getting very angry. And because of that, when he did get the ball and he did get a bit of space, he wasn't patient enough. He was just looking for that long raking ball over the top, 40-yard pass just to try and make something happen. Because he felt like he had to because of such a shit performance he was having. So he was trying to turn it around. But in doing so, it was added a bit of desperation to his play and it was just forcing more and more errors. He will be absolutely over the moon about this result because imagine if Manchester United did draw this game or even lose this game, he would have had his head on the chopping block, you know, from the fans' point of view, because we've all seen how bad he performed. But lucky for him, the team managed to turn it around. He managed to turn it around to a degree. So it's mostly positives in this game now. Yes, we were awful, but sometimes the best teams play awful and win, you know?
I mean, what I will say is I don't think it's an issue of your players not being good enough. You know, there's something just not quite right at United at the moment, but you've got the talent, you've got the players there, you've got the manager. So, you know, you just need it to culminate.
Do we have the quality players there, though, really? I know we've got some quality players, but if you look at United's defence now, just compare it to the defence we had, say, 10 years ago, you know, when you had Evra and Ferdinand and Vidic and Gary Neville and players like that. That is an unbelievable strong back line that you can use as a foundation, which if you're going to be a defensive team, like a Mourinho team, then you have to have a really solid back line. And unfortunately, right now, we just don't have a solid enough back line.
Look at the defence he had at Real Madrid.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable defence.
Even Inter.
Yeah, Ramos and Inter, yeah, absolutely. Great defences is what you need to be able to play that defensive football. And Chelsea, yeah. Now, we don't have that, I don't think. Bailey, I think, is good enough. He's up to it. Eric Bailey's quality. But Smalling, not convinced. Rojo, not convinced. You know, he's decent. I would definitely keep him, but I don't think he should be starting, you know, out there on the pitch. Week in, week out, just not for me.
What do you make of Lindelof?
Lindelof is another one. I just don't rate him that highly. You know, he's looked okay, but he has made a lot of errors. He's not the player I thought he was going to be when he came in. He could still be that player, but it's like we've just gone and spent 26 million on, you know, like another Smalling or something, somebody who has errors in him. The Bailey signing was a very shrewd signing from Manchester United at that time, actually. You know, we needed somebody who was solid. He came in, filled that role. He looks like a really solid Premier League defender. Is he returning
from injury? Is that why he wasn't playing today?
That's right. Joshua Takac says Luke Shaw would be good, but Jose hates him. Yeah, I mean, I always thought Luke Shaw was very good before he had that leg break calamity, which was horrendous. I think we were playing Benfica and he broke his leg. Before that, he was one of our players of the season up until that point. And since then, he's just, you know, he's struggled to get back into, you know, fitness. And also, Mourinho's not favoured him. He's obviously used Ashley Young. Ashley Young's been very good, though.
For me, Ashley Young has been consistent this season. You know, he hasn't really put a foot wrong, and sometimes he's been sort of man of the match performances and really shone for United. So, you know, you can't expect Luke Shaw just to be, you know, pushing him to one side. It's interesting the way that Mourinho looks after Shaw, because he does get shouted at. Have you noticed?
Oh yeah, he's on the sidelines giving him info all the time.
He's the
whipping boy.
He's the punch bag, isn't he? He really is.
He is, but he said himself, Mourinho said he's just not intelligent like a footballer.
That's what happened at half time. I've worked it out, innit? No team talked nothing. They just had him fucking, you know, tied up or something. All the players going and just beat their shit out of him.
That's what it's like, mate. You know, like in Full Metal Jacket with the soap.
Beat the shit out of Luke Shaw. Come out second half. You know what I mean?
He's a whipping boy. No, you might be right though, mate. I don't know if you remember, but like at school, I don't know if you ever had that nutty teacher. First year you're at the school, first lesson, he just singles out one person and just absolutely ruins them, yeah? And then everybody else just fucking pays attention and doesn't fuck around for the next however many years. Well, that's basically what he's done with Luke Shaw there. Luke Shaw is his bitch.
That's it. Lukaku and Pogba, they're flicking snot at Mourinho. And then Mourinho turns around and he just says...
Roast Luke.
Yeah, Shaw, get out!
But anyway, to go back to the point about United's defence, don't think it's quite good enough. Fosu Mensah, actually, a player who was left out of Palace's side tonight because he is on loan from Manchester United, a player who I rate, I think could come in and do a good job. Although to say that, he's a right back. Antonio Valencia, for me, maybe not today, but I think he's still one of the very best sort of wing backs in the league. And I think Mourinho's effectively changed him into that role really well. And for me, you can't really improve too much upon that. Left back, I think we can make some improvements. Ashley Young is not a natural player. He's a very good, versatile player to have in his side. Somebody who can come in and do a lot of jobs in different positions and do well. Really rate Ashley Young as a squad player, but I think we should be improving on that position. And then we just need one truly world-class centre-back to partner Bailey. If we can get a world-class centre-back to partner Bailey, I don't see why we don't have that foundation to then go on and win things. You've got to have a real solid defence.
Not like Virgil van Dijk.
No, not like Virgil van Dijk,
He's a brilliant signing.
He's decent, mate. He's
solid,
good. I don't
mate.
think he's a worldie. He's not a fucking worldie.
I reckon he could be. I reckon he
No.
could be at United. Why not?
I just think
he'd be a massive upgrade on your
I think
defence.
there's 10 players ahead of him, mate. I
Club.
think there's 10 players ahead of him in the world football. He's good, but I think we could go and get
Who
a
do you
better
want then?
player.
Matt Summels?
Yeah, somebody like Matt Summers would be nice. Somebody like, I don't know,
Toby Alderweireld or Jan Vertonghen.
Sergio Ramos. It's a shame that City signed that Aymeric Laporte guy because he's supposed to be the next best thing in terms of centre-backs. City's defenders are unreal. Look at their defence. Otamendi, and they've got Company still knocking around, and they've got Aymeric Laporte, and that's how
I reckon
you win a
Otamendi
league,
would
is with
be
a quality
shit at
defence.
Manchester United. Otamendi, right? He's one of these players that really works in a Pep Guardiola team. I'm not saying Otamendi's shit. I'm not bashing Otamendi, right? Just going off on a tangent about Otamendi right now. But he really suits that fast-playing, kind of almost sweeper sort of, defensive role, where they aren't really sort of, under the cosh too much. It's just playing out from the back, which he's brilliant at.
Yeah.
But him at United would be shocking, would be a shit signing.
A couple of people, Alkmamu included, commenting saying Alderweireld's right up there. I'd have to say he's a very consistent performer. A player who United should perhaps try and sign, I would feel comfortable signing him. Premier League experience, very good. Been doing it at the top level there in terms of the league.
Do you not think Jan Vertonghen is an incredibly good,
he
solid
is as
defender
well, yeah,
as well?
he is
He'd be
as
an
well.
absolute rock at the back there.
Yeah.
I even think Davinson Sanchez, a young player that's come into Spurs this season, looks like a solid, good defender.
Do you know what
He
United
doesn't really
need
put
to
too
do?
much of a foot wrong. He's like our boy. He's a great player, that
Yeah,
Davinson Sanchez. I'll tell you right now.
What United need to do is just raid Tottenham when they don't finish in the top 4 this year. Go in there, sign Harry Kane, sign Christian Eriksen, sign Alderweireld. Bang! 3 of their players, bish, bash, bosh. Suddenly United have got a quality campaign winning side.
It's interesting that you're still not saying that you want to sign Son Heung-min. He is
2 goals from him
He
the
is,
other day.
Bar Harry Kane, he's our best performer this season. Of course he is. He's been our star man.
I
Bar
think he's
Harry
already
Kane.
scored like 15 goals or something.
Yeah, he's
hasn't he?
ridiculous, mate. He
scored
scores
like
pretty
21
much every
last
home
year.
game. He's bangs in 2 the other night. And, his work rate's incredible. Even before he scored any goals, he just looked fantastic that game. I know it's only Huddersfield, but he's looked brilliant against top
He's an
opposition
absolute
this season.
beast, man. Yeah.
He's a fantastic. I'm really looking forward to South Korea in the World Cup this year. Just hopefully Son can shine and pull them through those group stages.
You've got to love a South Korean team as well because they will work their socks off. They will work their feet to the bone.
Ki Sung-young, he's been playing well for Swansea recently, putting in a few goals, but a real good, strong, big Korean. Chung Yong Lee on the bench for Crystal Palace today. Maybe that's what Roy Hodgson was missing, a bit of Korean magic there.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. Hyun Sung Min. I mean, personally, I think he's a great player and he is doing it. But he's aging, isn't he? How old is he?
Who are we talking about? Sorry,
Son.
Oh, aging. He's not aging. No, not so much.
He's
young.
reasonably-
He's mid-20s.
No, he's not,
Yeah,
mate.
of course he
He's
is.
old as
Son
fuck.
Heung-min is not old as fuck. Are you serious, mate? Are you serious?
You Google
he's
it now,
young
mate.
as, mate. He is young as. He's close. I'm guessing. Right.
think it's just-
guess age. Quick, guess age. I'm gonna go 25.
I'm going to say 29.
No way. So,
Fair enough,
I
then
think
I'm well out
he's
of it.
actually younger than 25, but I just went for 25 just to be on the safe side. Let's check him out. 25.
25.
Yeah, bang on.
All right, you fucked me there, mate.
So he's a brilliant
Fair
player.
enough.
What you
Always
about,
think-
mate? Is
it's hard to tell.
What you
with-
think
No,
of
hang on.
Park Ji-sung?
It's hard to tell with Asians because they look young up until they're about 50 and then they just age 30 years overnight. It is difficult to tell.
So what you're saying is maybe he is actually 40, but they think
Maybe.
he's 25.
There you go. You know, what's the documentation? You know, births, deaths and marriages like over in South Korea, mate. Come on. Is that just, you know, your South Korean heritage, mate? Come on.
Just because I've got South Korean heritage doesn't I know fuck all, does it? Do you know what I mean?
But no, okay, got his age wrong there. But no, he is a decent player, you know. I like him because he's just tenacious. He works so hard, and he could be somebody like a Jason Park or something if we could get him at Manchester United, you know. But those three players are the three players that I would sign given the opportunity. Of course, would be Harry Kane, Alderweireld, and Christian Eriksen. I just think is a very great creative player. Gives you a lot from set pieces and stuff. So those three players.
Look at this.
No, you can't do that, mate.
Sorry.
You can't do that.
Love a bit of mild racism from the pig from the Arab.
That's not mild racism, you know. Me and Henry are very close friends here, man. How can you say I'm racist, you know?
I was deeply offended. This is recorded, right?
But anyway, no. But that is actually quite a well-observed point, though. Is that I've met lots of Asian people when you go, "How old are you?" and they say like 42, and you're like, "What? You look like you're about 25." And then suddenly they just turn into that old sort of knitting lady overnight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's some hot 50-year-old Asians out there. I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying, you know, definitely. But then wait until they get to that point. There's like a tipping point, and then suddenly they age.
Yeah, well, okay.
It's like that film with Mel Gibson, you know, Forever Young. You ever seen that, where he's in the tank, he's frozen in time, and then he gets out like 60 years later, and he's still like a 25-year-old man, and he lives for a few days, and then it just starts catching up with him, mate. It's like that.
But I don't think Caucasian people necessarily age any differently in a way, you know. Okay, so you're saying there's some hot, let's talk women, right? So hot Asian MILFs, etc. 50 plus, yeah?
Well, who's an example here, mate?
Well, I don't know, just in general.
Personally, I don't fish around in the over 50 category myself, mate. But you may well do.
But you would, yeah?
You may well do. I'm not so sure I would, mate. Why are we going 50s? Why can't we say 40s or 30s or something? If you can give me an example of a hot 50-year-old Asian.
Lucy Liu, here we go.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Lucy Liu as a 50-year-old. I've seen her when she was fucking 29 and hot in Charlie's Angels. She probably looks like a hot mess now. No, she's probably decent, but there you go.
But all I'm saying is, you know, once a lady gets a certain age, then it becomes non-fuckable. Doesn't it?
100%. Although some do age like a fine wine, mate. To be fair, there's lots of examples of certain women who actually get better with age.
What,
you know?
like Helen Mirren?
I don't know if she's got better with age, but she's decent. What about like Carol Vorderman, mate? She used to look like, who is this bird? And then suddenly she's like 50 and she's got this bedoinka-doinky and like, what? Carol Vorder's looking decent. Do you know what I mean? Jennifer Aniston, yeah, but she's always been nice. That's from Crumpet. He says Jennifer Aniston, she does look amazing, but she's always been nice, you know? I'm talking about ones that have got consistently better. Anyway, this is supposed to be a football chat. We're just talking about like mild racism and sexism here. There's a comment there from Gungshi, says mild racism and mild sexism. Oh, crikey. That's what you get on the Pig in the Head show.
We're just following suit from what the FA, you know, basically they just come out with outrageous stuff and think that's obviously the norm. It's not. I'll move on to that later on in the show.
Alex Rudd says, just check Lucy Liu and she's still hot. Yeah, I'd imagine she's maybe not hit that tipping point where she ages 20 years overnight yet. You know, who was that one from Wayne's World, mate? Now, that was a hot Asian.
Oh, Tia Carrera? I know these Asian films.
Yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, should we get back onto the football show before we get closed down off of YouTube?
I'm getting a semi on now.
Crikey. But yeah, that Manchester United victorious tonight against Palace.
You must be happy with that. So lots of interest in
football. We're basically done with the football now, aren't we? We're done with it. Come on. You just want to hear us talk about women.
Lots of interesting stuff that's happened this week. So obviously, other than United, incredible comeback, poor first half performance there, has to be said again. Chelsea have an absolute mares, not turning up, not punching. It's like two boxers, isn't it? And Chelsea were just absolutely out of punches against City. They just didn't turn up. They're supposed to be the champions of the Premier League. Didn't even have a shot on target first half. I don't even know if they mustered a shot on target.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
Game.
I think they just bent over, sat back, allowed City the ball to
rolled out the red carpet or the sky blue carpet, essentially.
Scared, too scared. City are a very formidable side, but if you're Chelsea right now, you have got to attack and you've got to try and score and try and win the game, which is what they seem like they did the opposite of. They seem like they just were scared of City and they weren't, they were hoping to play bad and nick something rather than try and, recreate that form that they showed last year and upset City like Liverpool did, They were scared. Antonio Conte, I think, has already got one foot out the door, personally. Italy are interested in him. Roman Abramovich cannot be happy with the downturn in form they've had. I think he'll be leaving soon, maybe not the end of the season, but probably before, certainly if things keep going the way they are. But yeah, agree, some of the big clubs at the moment not performing. Arsenal as well have an absolute mess. It's great to see.
Absolute
losing to Brighton 2-1. I mean, are you serious after those two shocking performances against City? And that is how you respond against a team you should be battering? Arsenal are a joke club.
Very much so. I mean, you should have seen Hazard's face, in that game. He just didn't look happy. Not happy at all. I don't think he's happy being played up front. And he's got the rest of the team kicking up long balls to him. He's not going to be getting his head on those, is he? He isn't going to be able to hold that sort of play up.
Why not? Why not?
Because he's not a centre forward.
Yeah, but he's a quality player though. Just because he's not 6'2", hard as fuck, doesn't mean he can't head a ball or control a ball. Look at Leo Messi.
Doesn't specialise in that type of play.
I know. Yeah, that's not what they should be doing, really, is it? They shouldn't be doing that.
No, not when you've got Morata and Giroud.
He is a quality player. He's supposed to be one of the best players in the world, and one of the best players in the world with those silky skills should be able to play anywhere at that front line, I think. But there you go. But it wasn't really about the positioning. It was more about the intent, the tactics. It was very negative, and you can't do that. No shots on target. You're taking a piss. You're the champions. You're the fucking champions of England, Chelsea. Conte, wake up from your coffin, mate. Dracula's freaking bitch. He can't. What is that about? Pep Guardiola he basically just lubed himself up for Pep.
Well, he pretty much Conte came out and said that he was pretty much playing for the draw. He basically came out and said that.
Nah, shocking, isn't it?
Which is you can't be playing like that. Not as the champions of the Premier League. They were missing Kante. Without Kante, they had no one that could break up the play and actually gain a few yards on Manchester City, like they did when they played against Barcelona in a similar kind of format. And they played a bit. It worked against Barcelona to a certain extent. But yeah, to do that to Manchester City, and just you got hard-working fans that have travelled all the way up to Manchester City in this fucking snow to watch their team, and their team hasn't turned up. The fans have turned up, but the team hasn't turned up.
Really, it is disgusting, really, that they're not even going for it. Just allow City to do that. It's just pathetic. I mean,
It's like Conte doing Sam Allardyce tactics, wasn't it? Basically, like what the fuck.
I know, with all those players you've got at your disposal, why not try and match City? You might come out and lose the game, but if you're going to lose the game anyway, you might as well go for it, especially in Chelsea's situation where they're desperate for wins. They've got to give the fans something. They've got to try and impress Roman. If Conte wants this job, he's got to do something to stop Roman Abramovich winning the action.
The players have turned on him in the same way that they turned on Mourinho.
Yeah, they are. They are a complete bunch of melts then.
Hard enough. And as I said, it was the same with the United first half of the game today. Work rate. It's all about work rate. If you're not willing to work as hard as the opposition, then it doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter how much what your wages are. Doesn't matter how much you cost to be signed by the club. If you don't have the same work rate as your opposition, you're going to lose. Work rate is the first denomination of the footballing result.
Totally agree. And you don't have to have the best team. You just have to have the most desire and belief. And you can beat better teams than you if you are trying harder and working harder and running your socks off. It happens all the time. And from Chelsea's point of view, to not match City in that regard and just to bend over and take it, it's just a sad indictment of where they're at the moment. But I personally don't give a shit. I'm happy about it. Hopefully turmoil is what comes for Chelsea now. That'd be nice because they have been a very successful club over the years. There's a lot more competition now in the Premier League. So if Conte goes, they get somebody else in. I mean, historically, Roman's done very well in getting new managers in and having success right away. There's nothing guaranteed about it to go. But it's funny because Chelsea, they're such a bunch of mercenaries that they do turn things around very quickly. if there's a change, look at Mourinho then when they got rid of Mourinho, and then suddenly they just turn around and they're absolutely stunning match-winning team again, you know. Before that they were shit. It's the same sort of thing that I see going on now at Chelsea under Conte. It's like, I think he's lost them. I think that the players are resigned to the fact that they want him out, you know, based on how they're playing, based on the lack of drive and effort that they're putting in. I think that they want Conte out. And they'll probably get that. And then when a new manager comes in, at the end of the day, they are great players. They've got a great set of players there, so they can turn it around. Like, you know, like a you would expect them to. Like when Jose left and Conte's come in, it's like suddenly they started playing like the team that, you know, that they can play like again. And right now, I just think that the players can't be fucked to play for Conte anymore.
And I think it's a lose-lose situation in many respects. If it's a mentality thing. Basically, you've got a choice as a manager. You could think, right, we're going to shut up shop, and I'm going to play Hazard out of position, and we're not going to have any shots on target. We're going to try and get the draw. And if you get that draw, it's kind of like, yeah, we got the draw, meh, isn't it? Big deal. Well done. But if you don't get the draw, it's like, we didn't even try, and we didn't even get the draw, and we just lost, and we didn't even try, and you're going to feel like an absolute mug. You know, and of course that's going to cause indifference amongst the players. You know, I wouldn't want to play like that if I was Eden Hazard. Would you? Would you be happy with that? No way. No way. You're being showed up, aren't you? You're playing out of position up front for Chelsea. Yes, it has worked from time to time for Chelsea this season, but Hazard is not a false number 9. I hate this false number 9 shit.
No, he's better out wide, isn't he? He is. I mean, anybody can see that. Chelsea had 2 strikers on the bench there, not doing anything. You know, players that have been brought in to score goals and not even starting. He's playing Hazard up there. It doesn't make much sense. Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal because we just mentioned them briefly earlier. You know,
Conte out before the season.
Yeah,
before
the
end of the season.
Roman
Do you think he's going to go? It would not surprise me at all if Roman's axe comes down.
I think he's going. He's going. He's going to go and manage Italy next. I think Conte back to Italy. Wenger's got to leave this season, surely. You know, the way that they've been going, I'm surprised the Arsenal fans are not burning more effigies of the man at the moment because so many, a high percentage of the club wants him out. You know, a lot of the fans want him out. Most of the fans want him out. Some that are still sticking by Wenger, and you can understand why. You know, he has achieved a lot at Arsenal, but not for a long enough time. They're going backwards now. They're not consistently getting Champions League football like they were, and now they look resigned to finishing outside of the top 4 while Wenger's still in charge at the club. That seems likely. So they need to make a change, I think. I think it'll be the end of the season. They won't get rid of him beforehand. He's done too much for the club. But I think they will ask him to graciously bow out at the end of the season. It won't be a sacking. It'll be a resignation or something like that. He'll hand over the reins to somebody else. But then again, I don't know that because if there is a stubborn bastard out there that exists in this world, it is Arsene Wenger, the most stubborn bastard going. It's like he's just going to stick around at Arsenal and let them rot just so he can beat Sir Alex's appearance record as manager in the Premier League.
Well, he has already.
I know, that's what I mean. So he's done that now.
Okay.
And it's like, that's why he's sticking around. Don't care where he's taken Arsenal. Don't care that the club's going backwards. Don't care that they're selling the best players, not replacing them with like for like. He just wants to beat that fucking appearance record.
It's just been a business. It's been a bit of business for Arsenal, wasn't it? I mean, Arsene Wenger, he's just a face man, isn't he? He's kind of like the face of Arsenal, which is a shit, horrible, ugly face, by the way. But, you know, but behind the scenes, they love Wenger. You know, keep them in the top 4 pretty much every season. The copper coins are rolling in. You charge the most for season tickets in the whole of the Premier League. It's like, it's working. You know, the fans keep coming back for the same old shit. You know, as a business, fair play. Wenger, is he passionate about football? Surely he has to be. Surely, I think he is. But I don't know. Maybe he's a mug. Maybe Wenger's been mugged off for all these years, not being backed by the owners to the same financial extent as other teams. They haven't spent quite as much. But is it all about spending? Leicester
No, not necessarily.
Leicester won the Premier League. You've got to remember that.
I always thought Arsenal was a really well-run club. You know, they always try to do it the right way. They weren't like this Chelsea or this City, this money club where they've just got some rich person come in and try and buy everything. They try to build things. They have done that over the years. You know, let's not forget Wenger's taken them from Highbury to the Emirates. You know, it's a state-of-the-art stadium, all that sort of stuff. But the fans are paying for it with their season ticket prices and their seats and all that sort of stuff. They're paying for it. And what they are not getting is the same level of football that they had before that move, you know. They should be up there spending the money that Manchester United, that City are spending, but they're not prepared to do that. They should be a financial powerhouse. They should be in the competitions which allow allow them to keep hold of their star players like Alexis Sanchez or Robin van Persie and these sorts of players, they should be able to compete. But they can't, unfortunately. They're just that step behind the top clubs. They're not prepared to make the investments. If they gave Wenger the same level of investment as, the likes of City and Manchester United and Chelsea and stuff like that give their managers, then they would probably have won the league over these last 5 years, because Wenger is a good manager and they've just always been that one or two players away from making it work. They just always have, defensively. Look at Arsenal's defence over the last 5 years. It's a fucking joke. It is a shadow of what it used to be.
It's interesting when you look at defensive Arsenal, because you look at, giants of men, Patrick Vieira, Tony Adams, Sol Campbell to a certain extent.
Vieira's a midfielder, mate.
Sorry, okay, but even so, height and physical presence,
defensive midfielder,
part of the defensive setup, essentially.
Yeah, Martin Keown's a big lad.
Martin Keown, where are those players now? I mean,
they used to have leaders at the back.
Wenger slowly decided he doesn't want height. He's not bothered. The players got shorter and shorter. I'm sure if you look at the average height of Arsenal teams down the years, it'd be an interesting stat for you to look up at Mr. Alex Rudd out there. Yeah, I reckon it's gone down. Surely it has, because you just don't have. You used to just have a giant defence.
I'll tell you what has gone down significantly at Manchester United, and this is also true of Manchester United. So that's why I said United then. Arsenal. The thing that has happened at Arsenal that's also true of Manchester United is that we don't have enough leaders. They don't have enough leaders. They used to have loads of leaders. They used to have a leader in Patrick Vieira, who was a beast. They used to have Tony Adams at the back there, who was also an unbelievable leader. Martin Keown, another man who would marshal the lads at the back there. These players did not let their teammates forget about their errors, and they really did push their teammates to the very limits and try and get the best performances out of them, like we did with somebody like a Roy Keane in the side there, somebody who expects a certain level of performance from you. And it's not just the manager who's going to be on your back if you don't put those performances in, you don't show that fight and desire. Whereas Arsenal, they've gone from having an abundance of those sorts of players to having none of those players. And United have done the same, really. We've gone from having some of those players to having a lot less of those players. And those are the sorts of players you need to be able to win things, to be able to marshal the rest of the team, to lead from the back there, to lead by example. And that's where they've gone wrong. They've just basically got a team full of prima donna sissies.
Well, the issue that you have is, where do you get these players? These players the problem is you can't buy players like that anymore. There isn't just a Paul Scholes out there that you can just go buy. I mean, yes, you can buy Messi or you can buy Ronaldo, okay? And yes, of course, there's a handful of fantastic players that are going to improve any squad. But you'd kind of like to say that Alexis Sanchez is one of those sorts of players, like A-grade,
but I'm not talking about those players, though, really.
You can't just expect to just buy a player and them to be one of these absolute ultimate champions.
But I'm not talking about those sorts of players necessarily. Okay. I'm talking about somebody who's maybe not so much of a great player, but has it mentally, has the character in them, they can see the game, I don't know, somebody who's just got a bit of fight and desire in there, They don't have to be the most stunning, world-class talented player, somebody like a Danny Drinkwater or a Lee Catamol, Somebody, I'm not saying necessarily dirty players, but someone in there who takes no shit, no nonsense
holding
players.
Midfield rocks is what you're thinking
Not
of,
necessarily even holding midfield rocks. Alexis Sanchez would be the sort of player you could say he does it in a different way. He's not as vocal, but he leads by example. He is a leader. He's not really done very well for Manchester United so far, but he's a leader of a player. You could see that at Arsenal, dragging the team forward. Players like that, and you've got the same thing with defensive players, like a Tony Adams or something like that, who's just such a leader. They're marshalling that back line. Peter Schmeichel used to do it for Manchester United. He was a goalkeeper. There's lots of players, Jens Lehmann, these random players who would complete leaders, who organise. And that's what you need. Peter Schmeichel would go absolutely mad at his defence if they made any errors. He'd go mad at them, and you better believe that they'd be on best behaviour trying to make him happy for the rest of the game.
The more that you talk about this sort of philosophy, etc., the more I just think about Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. Because, I really do think that, okay, we don't have a Roy Keane and a Paul Scholes in there at the moment. But, the mentality of the players, you could see it in the way that we play and on the players' faces. I think Harry Kane is certainly one of those players that's really got his head screwed on. He really cares about Tottenham. Of course he does, because he wants to stay with us. Eric Dyer, Dembele, just marshalling that midfield, no fucking around. Then you've got Son that just works his arse off. Absolutely. Best work rate that, I've seen in a long time in a Tottenham shirt. Christian Eriksen, okay, on and off. But Dele Alli, another one that I think can grow into that kind of really cement his place and grow into that sort of role as well.
No, I think you're right, mate. You do have more leaders in that sense, real players. Look at like Son Heung-min. Just the way he plays.
Players that you can rely
He
on.
doesn't even speak the same
Hugo
fucking
Lloris.
language, but the way he plays is that of a leader. It's that of somebody who's trying to drag the team forward, giving it 100% leading by example. I think Arsenal and Manchester United need more players like that right now. We do.
Like Henrik Mkhitaryan is not that sort of player, is
No,
he?
he's a passive little bitch. And there's lots of players that are like that at Manchester United as well. But I think Arsenal, if you're looking at that set of players, Jack Wilshere's got a bit of fight in him. He's a tenacious player, isn't he? He sort of leads in the centre of the park there. But other than that, I'm quite hard pressed. There's no Nigel Winterburn. There's no Lee Dixon. There's no Martin Keown. There's no Patrick Vieira. There's no Tony Adams. There's no Dennis Bergkamp at the top of the pitch. There's no Thierry Henry.
Over Mars.
Exactly. These players that are they're either very vocal and organising, or they're just absolutely tremendous players out there on the pitch. Then they lead by example. They put 100% effort in, and that drags the rest of the team forward. Those sorts of players do not exist at Arsenal anymore.
I think the best thing for Arsene Wenger to do would be to come out now, finally, and say...
What, as gay?
No.
Come out as gay?
No.
You don't need to do that, Arsene. We already know that.
You can tell by your name, mate, and the club. But no, Arsenal fans must be hating that right now. Hating it.
Hey, Gungshi, you can add casual homophobia to that list now.
But Wenger should come out and say he's leaving at the end of the season. Everybody will be like, it won't be quite a reaction of don't go. It'll be like, yes, he's going. But at the same time, I could see the Arsenal fans getting behind Wenger for his final season. It's like, right, okay, we're still in the Europa League. It's kind of like Wenger's thinking, right, we've sacked off the Premier League this season. But if he can bring a Europa League trophy to the Arsenal faithful and secure Champions League football through it for them, what a great send-off. I mean, that's what he should be going for, and I think he should say it now. It should almost be like the great Phil Taylor, the darts player, who did lose in the championship earlier this year. But that was his last tournament, and everybody knew that was his last tournament.
But that adds a lot more pressure on it, doesn't it? And he's saying the opposite of that at the moment. He said he's going to honour his contract, and there's not even been a conversation had. But yeah,
but
that should
the
be the
contract
goal.
doesn't want you honouring it, mate.
They've got to
contract is rolling around in his paper sheets.
They've got to win the Europa League. They have to now. They're not going to get in the Champions League any other way. That would effectively. Do you think that would turn some Arsenal fans around to allow him to have that extra year?
What if he said he's leaving at the end of the season?
No. If he won the Europa League, and then would you think enough Arsenal fans would jump on board, and the board would be convinced enough to just give him the contract for the rest of the year?
He would get another year, of course he would. That's the problem. But I don't know if the Arsenal fans would want that. If he won the Europa League, well, let us know. What is your opinion on that, Alex Rudd? Please do let me know as our number one Arsenal fan and any other Arsenal fans out there. Plus, Chelsea fans, if you've got things to say, do let us know. I do like to hear from across the clubs there.
At least one of us does.
Well, I do.
No, I'm only kidding. We've got a lot of viewers from all sorts of clubs here. Happy to have every single one of you watching. That reminds me, everybody who is tuned in right now, do us a favour, chuck us a like on this video, give this video a share on social media if you can. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. If you're subscribed and you don't get notifications come through when we post videos, click that bell end button down there, and that will notify you when we post something on this channel.
Wenger out either way, thanks for the memories and fuck off from Alex Rudd. I think that pretty much sums up what most Arsenal fans would think,
Arsenal
I'd
fans
imagine.
like. But I know an Arsenal fan, a big-time Arsenal fan, who has this sort of...
Do you hang around with Arsenal fans? Are you serious?
No, I don't necessarily hang around with them, but I used to know this person very well. And their opinion on it is that
Not
Wenger,
anymore.
they're still Wenger in because they think Wenger has done so much for the club. Yes, they're having a bit of a torrid time at the moment, but they've got the faith in him. You're talking about somebody who came in and did dislodge Alex Ferguson's Manchester United side and win a couple of Premier League trophies back to back and win it consistently for a period of about 10 years, always challenging. And that's not easy to do, dethrone somebody like Alex Ferguson with Manchester United. But he did have a special set of players back then, full of leaders, full of inspirational players. And the squad is just short. And I think this is an accumulation of the board not willing to compete in terms of financial clout with the biggest clubs over the last 6 or 7 years, ever since this stadium move
But they
happened.
don't care. They don't care because as long as they got the money coming in, why do they care?
But
it's a business to them.
It's a business to them. That's all it is. They don't give the fans what they want. They're basically the rich version of Newcastle United, The fans want just a foundation to build on. It's all well and good signing Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan and these sorts of players, but what are you getting? You're not keeping Alexis Sanchez. You're not keeping Robin van Persie. You're not adding quality. You're losing it. You're replacing. Replacing is not the same as adding, and that's where Arsenal go wrong. Alex Rudd says, I still respect what he did for Arsenal, but he is like that old jar of milk in the back of your fridge, just stinking up the place and going bad. Yeah. He's past it. He's past his sell-by date. I see what you're saying.
He's pasteurised, not pasteurised.
He's not UHT. But yeah, he needs to go. It's as simple as that. I can see that as a neutral. Arsenal need a fresh approach. But the funny thing is, if they do get a fresh approach, let's say they get Simeone in or Brendan Rodgers or I don't know, say they get a new manager in, they could even do worse for the next couple of years. That's the sort of situation they could be in from having a significant change like that. What they would need is to invest heavily, allow a new manager to come in and have a war chest to strengthen that team, which is very unlike Arsenal to do that anyway. And then it's a gamble. Then they don't know if they're going in the right direction. It's just all blind faith. So I can see why they've stuck with Wenger for all this time. He has consistently got them top four. And that alone is a big achievement in this Premier League where everything's changing year by year. There's new clubs coming in, new money clubs coming in. It used to just be at one point, Arsenal and Manchester United were fighting out, and then Chelsea came in with their billions. City came in with their billions, So it's a much more level playing field. Tottenham have always managed to fight themselves in there.
What sort of manager do Arsenal need after Arsene Wenger? That is the tricky question, because obviously it's been 20 years plus of Mr. Wenger. So anyone that comes in is going to be. Is it a poison chalice? Is it a Moisey? Do they get David Moyes in just to be like, yeah, I've done it before, I know what it's like, of course we're going to be shitter and I'll be the face for it.
Get a scapegoat in there.
Yeah, brilliant. I think, that could work.
The fans will never be happy with that. They need to go out there and get somebody like Diego Simeone, somebody who's got a proven track record at top level over there in La Liga, Champions League, getting far with a team who are not the best in the league, but he gets the best out of them. And that's what you need. You need somebody who's going to look at Arsenal and say, right, we need to play to our strengths.
I thought Diego Simeone could be a good fit.
Yeah.
What do you think of Antonio Conte jumping, flying a few miles over to their way?
I don't think Arsenal fans would like that right now, but they should, in my opinion. I think he could do that, but, he's if it all ends in tears at Chelsea there, it would be a good FU from Antonio Conte to just go straight across to Arsenal. But it's a big gamble, the style of play to change the team up. I think they need someone who's going to play attractive attacking football. They don't want to change the philosophy at the club too much, which is why I think, somebody like one of these La Liga managers like a Simeone may be better suited to it. Plus, he's got that reputation in world football. He's got this knowledge base of players that he can pull from in La Liga, which is always handy when you've got somebody with that level of knowledge, also these friendships and stuff like that. Suddenly, guess what? Arsenal just signed Antoine Griezmann or some shit, because it was able to be made possible.
They do need a manager that can stand toe-to-toe with Mourinho, Klopp and obviously Guardiola. And, I'm not saying Simeone is of their calibre, but he's a bloody good manager, isn't he? And he is in that kind of. He's got a name to him, hasn't he? Obviously,
he's in that bracket, because who else is there? Carlo Ancelotti, Laurent Blanc. There's some top quality managers floating around world football, but not that many. There's less than
Rafa
10.
Benitez could be an interesting one.
Imagine that, Benitez at Arsenal.
The funny thing is with Benitez, right, is I think he's very much the sort of manager that the Arsenal board could probably get on with. Long-term contract, going to pay him well. Benitez could, potentially win trophies with Arsenal 100%. Maybe not be winning the league or challenging for the league, because I don't think it doesn't matter what manager they get in, that's not going to happen. But I think Benitez would probably still feel like he's obviously got a lot more money to play with and a lot more stuff going on than he has down at Newcastle. He'd love to have Aubameyang, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah. Arsenal got some great players. That's the thing. They do have some really good players. They need more leaders in there, and they need to add quality to that. If they've got the right manager, they can go and do anything. They can. They're that sort of club. They're right up there.
Alex Rudd mentioning Gattuso and look at what he's doing in Milan.
Shout.
Interesting one. Young and ready for a challenge, I'm sure.
And he's someone who's going to come into the club and demand that level of respect and demand that level of intensity from his players as well. So probably a good shout. He might bring a couple of leaders in. He might be the leader that they need out there just to man these players up. Yeah, Right, so we've pretty much covered everything we wanted to cover anyway. Of course, the Manchester United game finished 3-2 to United at Crystal Palace. Get in there, you beauty. The manager Matic popping up at the end of the game with a winner. Fuck you, Spurs fans and everybody else who was hoping United were going to drop points tonight. We didn't. We got the 3 points to basically cement ourselves in the Champions League next season. Get in there. Have some of that Chelsea. Have some of that Spurs. Have some of that Scousers going below us again.
You won. We won our game. It's not have some of that. Have some.
No, it is have some of that.
Spurs don't win, and I don't say to you, have some of that, have some. I don't say that. It's like we
well,
won.
It's funny because before you were saying,
you
"Oh,
beat
you
us, it's have some of that." But from what I remember, we beat you, so it's have some of that, isn't it?
You beat your first fixture of the season, you melt. It's a tie. But anyway, who's higher in the league at the moment, Henry? We're 4 points. We're 4 points clear of you, mate. We're 4 points clear of you, mate. Even if we lost today against Palace, we'd have still been a point ahead of you, pals. I don't know why you're giving it the big end, saying we're going to Liverpool next. Yeah, okay, we could win that game, mate. You're going to City. That's much less likely to win that game.
Yet, are we?
Next game after
next. City are coming to us. Actually,
well, whatever. Either way, you're going to get battered by City.
We ain't rolling out no carpet for them. That's for sure.
Couple of other things we just wanted to mention, actually, which don't want to put a downer on the video, but thoughts and prayers go out to the family of David Astori, is it?
I believe so, yeah.
David Astori, Fiorentina captain over in Serie A.
31 years old.
31 years old. I don't even know what's
basically our age, isn't it? That's the sort of age that we're at.
Professional footballer, world at his feet, captain of one of the biggest clubs in Italy. So sad when you hear something like that, 31 years of age. And apparently it's just a very short illness. I haven't heard much about the post-mortem or anything, what's actually happened. Hopefully it wasn't drugs or anything like that. Any foul play would be terrible. But if it is just an illness, just like that, you're gone, in a very short space of time.
I think it was just an illness, it's wrong for us to...
But what, he was in the
nothing like that, is it? I think he got ill and people get ill and die sometimes.
How did he get ill? Like an aneurysm or something? Anyway, we don't want to speculate and, it's not right. But
people get ill and die all the time. It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen.
It's just terrible to think 30-year-old, 31 years of age.
It's horrible.
Captain of Fiorentina, world at his feet. And just like that, can be all over. So to everybody watching this right now, anybody who ever feels down, depressed, whatever... Just thank yourself for what you've actually got right now. Sometimes when United lose, I think, I get really tense and stressed out. It means piss all, What really matters is living your life, making the most out of it, spending time with your friends and family for as long as you can.
Making YouTube videos and that.
You never know when that could just be
fishing
gone.
For subscribers.
Could be gone in the blink of the eye. Could be gone in the blink of an eye. Don't be disrespectful, mate. It's disgusting. Suraj Torres says Fiorentina's decided to pay his salary to his wife and child for the rest of their lifetime. Wow, are you serious? That is amazing from Fiorentina if that's true. Because I heard his contract was just up, which would have been horrendous, wouldn't it? But if Fiorentina have made that sort of a gesture, I think that's massive respect to Fiorentina for that. That's amazing, because obviously they're going to be hugely affected by this.
They made up a specialist version of their badge with his name on it as well that they put up on their website and stuff, which pretty
so great. Just want to say rest in peace.
Credit to him, and he was the captain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horrendous. Obviously, games cancelled, understandably. I mean, imagine that happened in this country. One of the players that we're talking about week in, week out on Pig and the Hen Show, and suddenly
it almost did, didn't it? Almost did. Fabrice
Horrible.
Muamba, mate. Wasn't it against Spurs that game happened? I think. But anyway, Fabrice Muamba, he had a heart attack playing the game. He could have gone. It happens a lot. Christian. Who was that player who used to play for...
It was the Ecuadorian player,
yeah, he used to play for Birmingham City.
Christian, wasn't it?
Something like that. But anyway, he died. He had a stroke or something after a game about 30 years of age. I forget his name now, but...
yeah, it's escaped my mind.
I saw him play once when Birmingham played Manchester United, and I was there, and he was a good, decent player. And he just died suddenly after a game. So you never know when your time's up. That's all I'm saying. Make the most of life while it's here.
Sir Roger Bannister as well, obviously passing this week. What a legend. First man to run under 4 minutes. Is that right?
He is, first man to run a sub 4 minute mile or the 4 minute mile.
Yeah.
Which is quite unbelievable, really.
Which is still a benchmark in today's athletics.
It's amazing how athletes they just build. They're constantly getting better. You've just shaven fractions off it over the years now. Because I don't know what it is now, but it's well sub 4 minute mile now, But at that time, for anybody to be able to do a 4 minute mile was unbelievable. So yeah, Roger Bannister.
I just want to go listen to some Chariots of Fire now. That's what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's about, isn't it?
Great tune, great film.
Talking about athletes, though, I mean, obviously, bit of an interesting one. Sir Bradley Wiggins.
Oh, we're getting on to fucking cycling now, aren't we, mate? I'm scraping the barrel.
Well, obviously gold medalist, absolute national legend, or was, and obviously with all the speculation about this stuff that was supposed to be for medical use, to get him to help him his recovery, and obviously it's coming out now that they believe that they were abusing this medicine to enhance his performance. And he obviously completely denies that was the usage for it, denies the knowledge that
I don't think he's done anything wrong, because apparently he had some sort of an ailment that he needed some medication for, and he was actually approved this medication by, the World Cycling Body, what organisation actually oversees it all, and they allowed him to have it, and this was 7 years ago. If it's then coming to light that it can be used as a performance enhancer, what I will say is everybody is at it in cycling. That's the sad situation about it. Everybody is at it. I was thinking about this the other day when it was coming out about this, that Lance Armstrong, he won all those Tour de France's and he had all those titles stripped from him because of the doping tests being, then coming out after years that he definitely was doping and taking EPO and all this stuff, right? But the fact is, so was everybody else in that situation. It's like you had to go back to like 17th, or it might have even been 27th to find a fully clean athlete in the field who finished in the Tour de France. And it's like everybody at that top level was doing it. So it's just rife throughout the sport. So even if he is guilty of it, yes, it's terrible. I think everybody's doing it. I don't see how you can be, competing in endurance sports like that at the very top level when everybody else is doing these sorts of performance enhancing drugs. If you're not, that's a sad situation. But I hope Bradley Wiggins wasn't doing that, because obviously he's one of our stars.
But he's saying that he
sport.
wasn't using it to enhance his performance.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is, well, everyone's at it, so fair enough.
I'm not saying
if that's
fair
the
enough,
case, then isn't that what he should be saying? Yes, I was using them to enhance my performance because
Well,
everybody else is.
No, what was it actually that he was taking, and what was it for, I'm taking acne medicine, which just happens to add 58% extra oxygen into my calves. That's fucking bullshit. You're obviously taking it for the performance enhancer. To be honest, I don't know enough about what he was taking and enough about the situation to be able to make an informed decision or opinion, really. But that's just my thoughts. I think everybody in cycling, it's one of those sports that is just absolutely notorious for performance enhancing drug misuse.
That's it. It's like I walk down the road these days, and people say, "Oh, so what do you do?" I say, "I'm a cyclist." It's like, fucking hell, just watch him. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like.
You don't walk down the road; you cycle down the road.
Obviously, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up there, but it has been a very fun show tonight. I was very down earlier. If you joined us at the start of this video, I was not in a happy mood, Pissed off. Crystal Palace, all respect to them. They took it to United. 2-0 up, but Manchester United showed that fight and hunger eventually in that game. We were second best to everything up until that first goal went in for United. But after that, we just managed to do enough to claw ourselves back into the game and set up a stunning victory goal for Nemanja Matic to take all the headlines, take all the plaudits. Fair play to you, Nemanja Matic. Absolutely over the moon for you, and winning us that game of football effectively right at the death. Huge result, huge performance second half from us. Absolutely buzzing for the lads, and so happy that managed to get the result. Don't care about the first half performance. Don't care how bad we were. One of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Manchester United side. We won the game. We played poor, and we won the game, and that's what counts. Right, so we'll wrap it up there.
Wait a sec. Something I just want. Final thing I wanted to talk about.
What the fuck are you doing?
Do you know who this mug is? Can you see that on there? Who's that?
Don't know, mate. Looks like Jeremy Carl's dad.
That is, his name is Martin Glenn, right? And he's Football Association chief, right? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he came out with?
I'm a sexy wizard.
Basically, in regards to Pep Guardiola's yellow ribbon, which I believe he's wearing in respect of Catalonian independence, I think that's something that he believes in. I haven't looked into it too much, okay? But he obviously wears that. That's what he's into.
Yawn.
Well, you won't be yawning now, because do you know what this guy came out and said? He basically said, right, we're not having any of these symbols anymore. Not allowed in football. And then he was listing the things that you're not allowed. And he says the Star of David, the Hammer and Sickle, swastika, ISIS, UKIP. Just like you can't just sort of say all this stuff.
Are you quoting him directly there?
He must have just been winging it. He must have been winging it at the times. It was almost like a real bad case of word association game.
Your phone's going, mate.
I know.
What are you doing? You're just going to let it ring out, are you?
Let it ring out.
I'm going to do my Roy Keane impression. You're just going to let it ring out, are you? You're not going to answer it, no. You're just going to let the fucking phone ring out, are you?
That's it, exactly. But I mean, you know, how piss poor from the FA. It happens time and time again. They're coming out with these statements that are just completely, you know, just leaving themselves wide open to just, you know, making a mockery of themselves, aren't they? I don't think they're intentionally trying to cause offence, but they have done.
I can understand it though. You can't have political symbols. Like when it was a recent game, was it England v Sweden or something with the poppies? With the poppies?
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Well, I think you should be allowed to wear poppies.
Yeah, but something that is patriotic to your country and is a symbol of, you know, defiance and you know, all that sort of thing in your country may have different connotations in another culture. You know, that's the problem here. Football shouldn't be about racism, and football shouldn't be about conflict. I personally think it should be about the coming together and the unity. So I understand why they don't allow all these different symbols, because it could get out of hand. Where do you draw the line? You know, one yellow ribbon to support whatever that shit is. That's fine. Just when I was coming up with some inspirational shit there, I go and ruin it and make myself look like an ignorant bastard. But no, what was that yellow ribbon about? Catalonia.
So that's the Catalonia independence thing. But obviously they've been imprisoned by the Spanish government, haven't they? I don't really know too much about it. But what I do know is that the Star of David, right, is the religious symbol, obviously, for the religion of Judaism. Okay, it's on the Israeli football shirt. It's on the Israeli flag, right? So for the chief of the FA to come out and say, "Oh, you know, you can't have these symbols on shirts," does he not realise that they've got the Star of David on the Israeli kit? So there's an international team that has that on their kit.
Have it on the kit,
you know. What a fucking idiot!
Yes, it's on their badge. So
that's what I mean. And then he has the audacity to compare that to a swastika. You know, and I don't even want to start to bring up, you know, obviously what happened back in the Second World War there. You cannot be, but you just bumbling these things out, thinking that no one's going to notice that you're causing serious offence there, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's the chief of the FA, more like chief of fucking someone or other. Fill the blank.
Okay, I'll take your point. It's a little bit misguided from the lad. Has the stream just buckled here, mate? What's going on? You know, the stream appears to just fully stop.
I can still see comments coming through.
Comments are coming through, but it doesn't look like the stream's currently working. I think we've got to end here, mate. We've got to end.
It's telling us to stop.
Hang on, let me see if I can just close that and bring that back up. No improvement whatsoever. Yeah, Alex Rudd says you guys are frozen.
But they can hear you. Fantastic. It's radio only. Can
you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Let me know if you can hear us.
You can only see my frozen mouth. How great this looks. Please come up with your caption ideas. What am I saying? I've got my mouth open, so I'm probably saying something.
Let's just wrap it up right now. They can still hear us. Wrap it up before this video gets any more ridiculous. But come on, United. Get in there, you absolute beauties. Do us a favour. Smash a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Go over to soundclouds.com/MrFlyingPhD. Also search in the podcast app or iTunes for Pig and the Hen Show or Pigcast, and go and follow us over there so you can listen to the audio version of this Pigcast, which comes out regularly. So do that.
I think we should just use this still, always. So nobody ever actually sees us moving anymore, and it's just this every show.
Can I just say, this particular still that I can see, hopefully you guys listening can see this right now, it does not paint me in a good light. It makes me look like fucking Quasimodo or something. Not happy about that. But that's just the truth of it.
I look like Stan's dad or something, don't I? Out of South Park.
Right, guys, yeah.
Randy Marsh, mate.
Listen to James Arnold. He says, hit the like button. We'll see you soon. This has been the Pig on the Pig and the Hen Show. He's been the hen. And we'll see you very, very soon. But come on, get in there, United. Have some of that Spurs fans. Have some of that Scouse fans. Have some of that Chelsea fans. Have some of that Palace fans. Have some of that every other fan. But thank you. Apart from United fans, a bunch of fucking legends. Thanks so much for getting involved. We'll see you soon. Like, subscribe, comment. Take it easy. I've been the Pig. You've been a legend. And we'll see you very, very soon.
Yeah, I've been the Hen too, yeah?
Nobody gives a shit, mate. Peace.